Joining us right now with some reaction to the new Apple offerings. After I've given now my review, Stephanie Link, chief strategist at Hightower, CNBC contributor, and Angelo Zino, analyst at CFRA Research. Stephanie, what do you think?
You did a great recap. It's like we can close the segment now. But no, I think that okay? It was really a bunch of really a bunch of really great products. As you mentioned, the iMacs and the iPad Pros with the M1 chip and 5G connectivity comes at a really good time because it's right, like they'll be offered and available for the second half kind of product refresh as people go back to the office and back to work. So I think the timing is really great. The problem with the stock, Andrew, is while they have these great products and they are probably going to do product growth in the quarter of 43% and services growth of 19%, the stock is up 99% in the past year, and it's up 10% in the past month alone. So I think the expectations are for obviously continued momentum, but I think a lot of the stock is already reflecting a lot of good news in terms of the iPhone cycle and the Macs and iPads and work from home benefits. So right. I think while I think the quarter's going to be good next week, I really do. I think maybe the highlight will be their capital allocation plan. There's whispers out there of $60 billion in buybacks and a 10% increase in the dividend. So we'll see what they have to say. But I think a lot of good news is reflected in the name.
Angelo, you want to buy in or you want to rotate out of the stock?
Well, I think it all depends on what type of investor you are, right? So, for us, we continue to have a buy on the shares. We're trying to look out more longer term. I mean, if you look at the Apple thesis here over the last 2 years, really for us, it was our belief that this was an undervalued name that needed to be re-rated, and that story has kind of played out here over the last 2 years. Now, that being said, we are very excited about the actual pipeline here going forward over the next kind of 3 to 5 years, whether it be related to moving to hardware as a service, whether it be related to the car, AR glasses, a whole plethora of stuff. We tend to look longer term out into that pipeline. And if you're that type of investor, you want to hold on to the shares. Near term, though, I expect the shares to continue to consolidate.
Steph, how worried are you about regulation? And I ask because one of the products that they put out, which I'm excited about, is this AirTags product. But it competes directly against something called a Tile, which has been around for a long time and is, I imagine, I hope it doesn't happen to Tile, but they could get crushed in all of this. They came out publicly yesterday, said this is another example of Apple abusing its power. And it just feels like every time they introduce new products, especially that compete with people who are already doing similar things on their platform, there's a view that they're poking the bear.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that, right? And I think that the fact that the stock has re-rated over the past year, trading at 30 times forward, a year ago was trading at 19 times forward, you're more vulnerable, certainly, to these headlines. So, I think the stock has had a nice move, and we always worry about regulation, just in FANG in general, by the way, as we've talked over the last several years about this. So it is something to be concerned about, and especially at these valuations. That said, look, I own the stock. It's 6% of the S&P 500. I'm not overweight. I'm market weight because I do think I agree on the pipeline. They have some really amazing things, and I too am very excited about the AirTags because I lose things all the time. I think that was the most exciting part of the launches yesterday. But yeah, we're always going to have to deal with the regulation part of it, and that's a big question, and that probably caps the multiple at about where it is.
Angelo, you mentioned the car. Stephanie said that she's excited about the future. I assume that includes cars. How much do you think a car is built in or not to the excitement or not around this stock?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the car is concerned, I don't really think there's much expectation at all in terms of the stock in that car. I mean, will it help kind of keep the multiple where it is? We think so, along with some of the other, highlights that we mentioned. But that being said, as far as kind of the potential upside from actually releasing a car and the actual volume from, an actual car, I don't think that's embedded within kind of the actual fundamentals and the actual stock price itself.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.